welcome everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the second season of Buzzing with Barça. I am Marco, your host, and with me here today we have Pulkit and Sagnik. Sagnik, how are you?
I'm very well, Marco. What about you?
Oh, for me, I'm a little rust. Maybe it's the first time that I'm recording an episode here in some months. It's the first time for me since my baby was born a few months ago. So I'm glad to be back, and we have a lot to talk about. So how are you, Pulkit?
I'm good, Marco. And what's your baby's name?
This is my opportunity to say welcome to the team. I wasn't here in the last episode, so welcome. Um, as for the baby's name, I'm gonna keep it private. When he will be big enough, he will say his name himself. So
Nice.
without any further ado, let's start. We will start this episode. Since a few days has passed since then, but we'll still talk about the game against Real Sociedad last Sunday. It was Sunday or Saturday? We won the game 4-2. We were leading 3-0. Then we conceded two fast goals very, very close to the ending. But then Sergio Roberto won the game with the fourth goal. We will start with you, Sagnik. What did you think about the game?
Well, first of all, since Messi wasn't there, me and most other fans could divert our attention to each and every other player because when Messi is on the pitch, it's obvious that most of your 90% of your attention will go to him. But what I would like to see is that what I saw was number one, Antoine Griezmann. He did not at all occupy a winger's position. He was mostly very deep down in the pitch, defending very well, and mostly central, while Dest provided him the width in the attack. Dest played very well too, dribbling past players with ease, but he lacked the end product. The most shocking, of course, is Martin Braithwaite, who pulled a banger of a performance, not only in attack, but I do remember an occasion where he was in the direct opposite end of the pitch in defense. He probably had the fastest speed recorded on the pitch on the match day, and he was lightning fast, and he intercepted a ball which could have led to a lethal counter attack. So yes, Martin Braithwaite's heat map was everywhere, and he was the most impressive for me. And of course, the new signing Memphis Depay was phenomenal too, but of course we all expected him because he is a world-class player. So yes, that's my opinion on the match.
All right, and Pulkit, what do you think about the game?
Good to see that we started off well. We scored 4 goals, although we conceded 2. One of them, of course, was a shambolic mistake by the referee, the yellow card to Nico, and that free kick was unstoppable by Oyarzabal. Good to see that we won. Also, one thing I would like to point out that, late in the game, in the closing stages, how Koeman had a conservative approach. He could have played on the front foot. He could have brought on Gavi and Demir, who were warming up but did not played more attacking football rather than being conservative. Reminded me of very much about Ernesto Valverde that time. So did not like that. Maybe we can gain control of the game for the full 90 minutes. I get that it's the first game and you're just getting back within the rhythm, and the players were not having a lot of minutes earlier. So I get that. Maybe we see that in the games that are coming in the next few weeks. So, but good to see that the team won, and the post-Messi era, although it just started, it's looking quite good in terms of the kind of squad we have, the kind of youngsters we have. Some of them are, of course, injured and will be coming back also. So, yeah, good feelings and optimistic about the future.
Yeah, I would like to point out another thing. Me personally, I did not have the chance to talk about Messi's departure in the podcast, but I wrote an article about it. I'm going to be. I'm not expecting anything from this season. Personally, I would just want to see good football. I want to see youngsters play, and this I think that we saw against Real Sociedad. I think that the first half especially was great football, the whole team looked. I wrote it in the match points article after the game. I think that the players played like they had something to prove. I mean, they said, okay, Leo Messi is not with us, but now we have a chance to become a team, more of a team. And on that matter, I have to say that, in my opinion, this year is an opportunity, not only to see good football, but also to see youngsters shine and get their opportunity. I mean, I'm not expecting a trophy, but although I will be very happy to see one, I do expect to see good football, and this we saw. And we will talk about it in the other topic later about Ronald Koeman, because we saw some signs of last season Koeman and his mistakes. And I mean, we have a few seconds left, so for me, I don't want to see Ronald Koeman doing these substitutions of. After with the buzzer, we will move along to the next episode, the next topic. For me, it's very natural to continue and say that what I started in the last topic. Koeman, for me, does a lot of. Is inferior tactically when you compare him to other elite coaches, and this is something that made us lose every encounter against elite team in the last season, and I really hope that this won't make us lose titles in this season. So if we talk now about 1 year of Ronald Koeman in charge, it's yesterday. I mean, it's today, the day when we're recording the podcast. It's 1 year of Koeman, and I wanted each of you to maybe say what you think about him until now. What's good about him and what's bad about him. We will start this time with Pulkit. Go ahead.
Okay, so Koeman took a Barcelona that was in crisis. Messi wanted to leave last summer. He made it very clear to the public that he wants to go because of Bartomeu and the fallout between the two, and how the events transpired, the Bayern 8-2 defeat before that, the controversy with Abidal and everything. And Koeman took a very messed up Barcelona on and off the pitch. And you've seen how Koeman has protected the club in the media when asked about Messi's future, when asked about his own future, when asked about the president and the elections, and every question that was not about playing, not about tactics, not about what happens on the pitch and within the 90 minutes. He was asked less about that and more about off the pitch issues, and he has protected the club a lot. As much stick as he gets tactically, of course I agree with you that he does not do well tactically. He is not that good a manager or a tactician for that matter, but I don't think other managers would have been able to handle the club the way he has handled things in terms of the press conferences with the media and stuff like that, given. And having said that, negative, of course, the tactics are there, and other positive things are that the way he has given chances to the youth players, not counting Riqui Puig in this situation, of course. We never know. I think we will never know what the situation is with Puig, would be. So I don't know why that is, but otherwise he has given a lot of good chances. You see, he trusts Demir over Collado, although I don't agree with that, because Collado and Demir are two different players who offer different things on the pitch, but he does trust the youth, which is a good thing. He does, take risks. He has that conservative approach that we talked about earlier also, and tactically he's not that good. But these are things that I think are positive, and of course he can improve. And given that now he does not have Messi, he has to rethink. It's a massive task, and I don't think any manager now also, if given an opportunity, would touch this team with a 10-foot pole. Whether it's Enrique, whether it's Roberto Martinez, whether it's Marcelo Gallardo, whether it's Xavi for that matter, we cannot expect them to do very, very, very well with this team currently, because we are still in a rebuild. So I think Koeman has a massive task at hand, and we have to give him time, even more time now, because this is a new era for Barcelona. What do you think, Sagnik?
Well, as you two summed up, I would also say that Ronald Koeman is not a world-class coach when it comes to tactics, but Here is where his greatness comes into play. He is a club legend and he protects
Yeah.
the club's crest fiercely, which is
Mm.
exactly why he is the only person on the planet who can fix this crumbling Barcelona. No other coach would at all touch the club with a 10-foot pole, as you said. But here is where the downside of this comes. The man is very stubborn and very determined, and this is both his strength as well as his weakness. As I said in the last podcast too, that even in the last season, in the 1 year of Koeman, when Coutinho was fit, he repeatedly made Coutinho play, even though most of his fans would think that Coutinho wouldn't fit in the formation. More on this later, of course. But yeah, the results didn't favor Koeman. Even with the back three and with the double pivot, he did not. He was stubborn. He refused to change it, but it did not work out well for him. And even as Marco said, with Longley being subbed on in the last 5 minutes when the opponent team is chasing, and similar, what do you call it, errors, minor errors, which cost us matches, he did that repeatedly. But what he did is fix Barcelona.
Okay, we hit the buzzer. Very nice things you said. We will move along to the next topic. The next topic is about Coutinho. You gave us a little spoiler there, Sagnik. Recent reports say that he might stay. So let's start to talk about him because it's interesting to see what you think about it. So we will start with you, Stagnik.
Yes, so Coutinho, he played very well at Liverpool. He played very well at Bayern. What he plays like at Barcelona is, however, a completely different story. We saw that in previous seasons as well, and even in the preseason under Ronald Koeman, that he doesn't really fit in the Barcelona philosophy. However, this season it is different. Lionel Messi is not there anymore. However, you would think that his central position would be empty right now, but it is contested by Antoine Griezmann, who has been really well. And frankly speaking, I am more excited towards Griezmann gaining his top form than Coutinho gaining his top form, if it is at all possible. But knowing Ronald Koeman, I see that Coutinho, if he stays fit, he's gonna play some matches. And frankly, the only reason why I would not want him to get minutes is because of the impending doom of a deal Bartomeu made with Liverpool back then, which states that after a few matches we got to pay a hefty sum of money to Liverpool. So yes, that's the only reason why I would not want Coutinho to start. I mean, of course, I'm all for experiments because this is football. You cannot predict anything. But yes, Ronald Koeman will most likely start him. But the only downside to it I see, unless it's a very crucial match, is that we gotta pay Liverpool some money if he plays more matches. That's it.
Okay, Pulkit.
I think he has to go, Marco, and I don't see him, playing for Barca because even if he's fit, he's way behind the pecking order. He's right there up with Pjanic in terms of, in his position. We have Pedri, we have Puig, we have Yusuf Demir can play there. Of course, he played really well in that position against Juventus. And we also have Gavi coming in that position. So I don't think he is, far ahead or far up there in the pecking order. He's way behind. He's like the fourth choice right now, and I don't think he'll get a chance to play. He's a good player. He just wasn't suited for Barcelona, like Sarnik also pointed out. He's not a Barcelona player. He never was. Thanks to Bartomeu, we are stuck with him, and there's no market for him. And I don't think a club really would be able to afford his wages or a transfer fee for that matter, even though I don't think we'll be able to sell him for more than 35 million. So he has to leave as soon as possible if he needs to play regularly. And also, we read the news today that the club will be talking to Griezmann and Coutinho to cut their wages. So he'll have to cut his wages even if he wants to stay at the club. So that's there. So I don't think he is suited for us. I don't think there's a place for him at the club. If he wants to play, he should leave. So yeah.
Yeah, so let me just add one quick thing. Gabriel Sanz from Mundo Deportivo said 2 weeks ago that Barcelona sources denied that they have to pay 20 million to Liverpool. This clause was rumored for reaching 100 appearances for the club. So according to him, 2 weeks ago, the Barcelona sources denied it. They have to pay it. So I guess just like Koeman, I don't think that he was the first option to stay in this second year. I think that we have our board is a little bit compromising here, because of course if they had an opportunity to sell Coutinho for, you said 35 millions, I think if someone would pay 10 or 15 million euros for him, the club will sell him, maybe let him even go for free, just to erase his salary from the club. So
Yeah.
because he was unfit most of the last season, and right now his fitness is questionable, and I think that
And his form also.
What?
His form also is very questionable.
Very questionable, and his adaptation to the tactics, the formation of Barça is it's not questionable. It's not good. We know that, and so and Pedri is above him in the pecking order. So if you ask me, I would like to see him leave, hit the buzzer. We will move along to the next topic. The next topic will be Laporta's press conference. The last Sunday, Laporta gave a press conference, and in this press conference, he kind of talked about the audit of the club and the results of the audit that put us a little picture, a dark picture of the current status of the club financially. And he also answered the famous Bartomeu 10 points letter to kind of address his version of how Barca got to this situation. So Laporta, in a 2 hours show, kind of attacked every single one of the aspects of the last board. I really enjoyed looking at it and afterwards reading it, because every detail was very interesting. So I will let Pulkit start and sum up this press conference, because you wrote an article about it. So we'll let you start, Pulkit.
So I'll just talk about a few points. Like, he said that the club has the debt of 1.35 billion, which and the good news is that they have 5 shirt sponsors and various investors who were interested. So in some, of course, it won't happen like in a year or something. It will take a few years to repay that debt. So he's working on that. Then, of course, he talked about Messi leaving and how it was just impossible financially to keep him at the club because of the club's financial position. Earlier, you were talking about Coutinho's 20 million fee that we have to pay. We can't even sign that Demir guy for the B team. It was 5 million deal, and we are offering 2 million. We might be reaching like 3.5 million or something in order to close the deal, and it's not just closed yet also. So how will we be able to afford Coutinho's 20 million? It's just a shambles. So financially, of course, we're not doing well at all. That he pointed out. We have a negative worth of 450 million euros also. So these are some of the numbers that he talked about. And of course, he thrashed Bartomeu's administration and his methods and his ways and everything that he has done to the club, and how his management has been poor, how agents were overpaid, how scouts were paid a lot of money, 5 million euros to some scout in South America. So all those things he touched upon. Then some good things that he touched upon, that no La Masia players will be sold, like Ansu Fati and everyone, good assets that we have at the club, and we'll count on La Masia even more, and we can see that with Gavi and Nico coming in. Again, I'm raising the point of Riqui Puig, that why doesn't he play? when we talk about La Masia, right? So these were the kind of the main points and highlights that he pointed out, and that are being talked about, and that are kind of the whole gist of the interview. What do you think, Sagnik? What stood out for you? What are your takeaways from the interview by Laporta?
Well, what stood out for me was exactly what Marco enjoyed the most. It was Laporta being the living embodiment of anger of all the Barcelona fans throughout these years. The sheer disaster made by Bartomeu for 5 years, which led to the domino effect of everything crashing down, and the way Laporta just thrashed and went at him and his entire team, it was hilarious. You know how evil Bartomeu is when there are 7 deadly sins and 8 lies in the letter written by Bartomeu, which Laporta outright called it. They were lies. To be honest, Laporta didn't even need to address the letter, because frankly, every fan who knows how to evaluate things knows that they were all false stuff written in the letters by Bartomeu. But obviously this was very good to see that Joan Laporta sympathizes and feels the same way as the fans do. He understands the kind of massacre we're in, and of course it's not the first time for him. As for the rest of his conference, he addressed the audits and exactly how much debt we are in right now, and it's pretty terrifying, but I do have full faith in Laporta. I do think we will pull through. What else can we do except put our faith in him? And yes, no matter how dark the reality is, I think it was a very it made me very happy to see that the entire fan base rejoiced the way Bartomeu got thrashed in spite of the dark times we're in. As Albus Dumbledore once said, the happiness can be found even in the deepest darkness if you just remember to turn on the lights.
Wow. Wow, man.
This is a good one. So with this optimistic message, we will move along to the next topic. The next topic, it's a little less optimistic. We'll talk about Riqui Puig and Collado's battles. Another year, another year of talking about Riqui Puig not getting enough minutes. I mean, we're talking about it since the days of Ernesto Valverde, and now we talked about it also in the Setien era. Although he did give him some minutes, but Koeman, it started last year. This year, Collado joins the circle, and he also didn't even get the call-up against Real Sociedad. Riqui Puig stayed 90 minutes in the bench, didn't even get a warm-up, while players like Nico and Gavi did get to warm up. Nico even entered the field, and Sergio Roberto also entered as the midfielder. Riqui did not even get a chance to warm up. And for me personally, I'm a little bit... listen, I love Riqui, I love Collado. I watched the UEFA Youth League, and I think both of them have great talents. Collado, I'm a little bit questionable about his abilities, although he was great in Barça B. He was the captain of Barça B. He has great talent, but in order to make it as a winger in Barça, you have to be very, very special. And Collado, although he's a very good player, he can, in my opinion, turn out to be another, Christian Teo, someone like this. The best scenario for him is to become some sort of a Pedro, some sort of rotational player in Barça, and I'm not sure that he has it in him. But I would like to point out that my opinion on La Masia, as someone who saw Leo Messi while he was in La Masia, I think that the talents that grow in La Masia should get a proper chance. If they make it or not, it's up to them. Bojan Kerkic, for example, was a great talent in La Masia, and he didn't prove to become an elite star. He wasn't a superstar, but he did get a chance to prove himself. And Collado doesn't get this chance. Riqui, although he's trying and he's staying, and when he is on the field, he's playing pretty well. I think that Koeman sees him as a high risk, high reward kind of player, and he doesn't want to risk the transition attacks from the opposite side because he knows that we have a slow attack. I don't think that it's very personal here, although it's very easy to go there. I think that Koeman believes in players that doesn't lose the ball, and Riqui's biggest problem, and he's already 22, he needs to sort it out, is that he's losing a lot of balls. I mean, if you compare him to Pedri, Pedri doesn't lose the ball as much as Riqui. But I love Riqui, and I really think that he has the talent to make it big. We need to to wait and see what will happen with him. Sagnik, what do you think?
Yes, of course, I'm with you on the fact that all La Masia players should at least get the chance to prove themselves. Whether they play well, fit into the team as well is a matter of evaluation after they're given the chance. It cannot be just assumed beforehand. Plenty of times it has happened that unexpected things happen a lot in the sport. So yes, whether it be just a La Masia, whether it be a La Masia player or just any other player, he should get a chance in the team, at least a few minutes. And last match, Nico and everybody else got to play, and I do think that Puig deserved a chance. Not necessarily in the dying minutes when we were neck to neck almost 3-2. Not then, but at least a few minutes before. I think he should have been put on, and eventually as we go further into the season, as I said before, Koeman is stubborn. I do not know if he will get minutes, but by all means I do think he should. And as for Collado, he is very comparable to the Trincao situation that was at Barça. I do see him getting some minutes, but not significant amount of minutes. He might be sent away on loan for a few years to a different team to gain some experience, and maybe they can do the experiments on their behalf. We'll see how good of a player he turns out to be when he is in the big leagues. As Marco said, that in Barça B, in the junior leagues, he is a phenomenal player, but this is a world-class platform. You have to be the best in the world. So yes, both of them, not both of them, Collado is very young. He still has time to go on loan and prove himself for a different team. Puig, on the other hand, his prime years are near. He's approaching his prime years, so I do hope that he gets some time, because he is as stubborn as Koeman. The man won't leave Barcelona. He is still waiting, and he will be waiting as far as I have known him. The kid's got spirit. That's all I'm gonna say, and he does deserve minutes.
Okay, Pulkit, 30 seconds. We took all your time.
Okay. Love Puig, love him to death, and I guess the criticism that he receives from the fans being compared to Pedri and Gavi also now is a bit harsh. He's, of course, he offers a different thing on the pitch. He, of course, is an interior. But I agree with that losing the ball point. He has to improve on that.
But the next topic is very similar. So I will let you, Pulkit, continue. We will talk about baby Barcelona, baby Barça. The last days we saw some headlines talking about how Barça is now full of youngsters, full of players just waiting to prove themselves. So Pulkit, I will start with you. Just continue from where you stopped, I think, and just go talk about this topic.
Yeah, so baby Barça is the young 11 that we have, or young 12, 13 players that we have in total. And I love the baby Barça team that the Spanish media posted. And, you see talent all across the pitch. Of course, we were talking about the front line, so I'll continue with Demir and Collado being on the right, with Fatih and Pedri in the front as well. Then in the midfield, we have Puig, Gavi, Nico. And at the back, we have Garcia, Araujo, Mingueza, Dest, Emerson. So we have, and maybe, although it was not mentioned in the list, but Ramos, Mingo, and other leading players also can join in the back line. And with Arnau, Tenas, and Inaki Peña as the goalkeepers. So, love the baby Barça team. And this generation of players is really, really, really good. These kinds of players in a single generation do not come very often. Reminds me of last generation, 15 years ago, and. And great players we had at that time. Of course, we cannot compare players from generation after another, one generation after another, because the game has changed a lot. Players also have changed a lot. The style of play is very different, and we cannot compare individuals. So, but having said that, loving the baby Barca team and loving the kind of potential that we have, and the kind of when the players break into their prime, they can offer a lot of good stuff. What do you think, Sarnik?
Well, I think a golden age of Barca is coming soon. All these young players are gonna mature into fantastic world-class players. Each and every one of them have the potential to be world-class and create another golden era of Barcelona. Especially in a few years, if Messi is still playing and he decides to come back to the club, and under Laporta's leadership, if we can hopefully retain most of this talent. Of course, all of them in the same team at the same time would not be very sound financially, because we should at least put them out on loan, because so many players especially only youngsters won't win you trophies. You need some veterans in there. So yes, if even Messi comes back, and Messi is always in his prime, and he's always going to be in his prime, he's not human. So a golden age is coming very, very soon. And as for baby Barcelona, it is very surprising that the team, which is comprised of youngsters who lack experiences, is better than most other teams on the planet. Yes, that's all I'm gonna say. It's very shocking, and as I say, always trust in the Barcelona youngsters.
It's terrifying, I would say, the talent. What? It's a terrifying talent, terrifying prospect for the opposition. It's a great prospect.
I mean, I can only compare it to the generation, the golden generation of Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, Valdez, Leo Messi, of course. They just came on year after year, and we saw Xavi competing with Ivan de la Peña and get him out of the team. We saw Iniesta competing with a name that we had a lot of names. Gabri Garcia. We had, even Oleguer, players that were part of the team. And Frank Rijkaard, you can say what you want about him. He gave them opportunities. This is something that even Laporta said when I talked to him 3 years ago. He said La Masia players look up to the first team, and they have to see that there are players there that get their opportunities. And when you take a look at Piqué, Busquets, Sergio Roberto, Jordi Alba, and of course the golden age that are now knocking on the doors, you have to give them the right time to play, because they can make it big. Let me warn you, as someone who saw a few generations of talents, not all of them will make it big. Some of them you will wake up one day 5 years from now and say, remember this player? He was about to become the next best thing, and now he's playing for, I don't know, Nastic. And you will be very. Jeffrey Suarez scored the 5th goal in the Manita of 2010. He's now playing, I think, in the 3rd division of Sweden, something buzzer. And moving along, after we'll talk about now. Now it's time to talk about the game tomorrow versus Athletic Bilbao. We're going to San Mamés. It's a very tough away game, and we might have to do that with the only question that we have right now is about Gerard Piqué. He's about to, according to last reports, he's having a little bit of pain in his cough, so he might stay on the bench, because the reports say that he will go with the team to San Mamés, to Bilbao. but I believe that he won't start the game. So it might be an opportunity for us to see the defensive duo of Araujo and Eric Garcia. We didn't talk about Eric Garcia. It was one of the surprises in the game versus Real Sociedad. So this might be a golden opportunity in a very tough stadium like San Mamés. What do you think about the game, Sagnik?
Well, the first thing when you talk about Bilbao, we get reminded of the Copa del Rey final, in which Lionel Messi had a huge role to play in our victory, like in all other matches. You guys must remember his goal all the way from the midfield, the way he dribbled past all the Athletic Bilbao players and then scored a goal. This time, it's gonna take a lot more of teamwork than magic, because obviously. So I don't know. The way Marco said that we're gonna see Araujo and Eric Garcia center back duo together. Obviously, we've seen Eric Garcia perform very well with Gerard Piqué, a lot better than any of us expected. And Araujo, as we all know, that he's a very reliable center back. But what I do think is that I hope Koeman trusts the two, because if he doesn't, I'm afraid that he's gonna probably use a 3 center back formation, which will probably have Lenglet in it, which didn't turn out so well last time we used a 3 center back formation. But yes, as long as we have a 2 center back and fullbacks formation, and Busquets is in proper form, I think that we have a very good chance of winning, because Antoine Griezmann tracks back very well. He contributes a lot to the defense, and similarly, players like Braithwaite, etc. We need to adapt into a new tactic. The plus point to this is we're going to be unpredictable to Athletic Bilbao, who last time just a huge part of their defense was to overcrowd just Lionel Messi. And of course, in the first leg, in a previous match with Athletic Bilbao, Messi got so frustrated because of this, he ended up slapping opponent player. It was passion, not really blaming that. So yes, this time we do have the card of unpredictability, but we also need to see how Koeman comes up with a new tactic about this.
Yeah, Pulkit.
Yes, we will be unpredictable, and it's a good opportunity to test the back line, because of course it will be Garcia and Araujo, and Koeman seem to trust both of them individually, not as partners. We'll see that, and of course Dest and Alba will be alongside them. Also, we need to stop Inaki Peña's space. That will be a task for Araujo. And
Inaki
we
Williams.
also have to Inaki, sorry, not Peña, Inaki Williams. Yeah, sorry. I was pretty I was going to do that, and I did. So, Inaki Williams' space. And we also have to protect our team from set pieces, Raul Garcia in particular. So, we are not very good at set pieces, not very good at marking. And given that Garcia is a very physical player also, it will be tough for people like Eric Garcia to mark Raul Garcia or Araujo also. But the good thing is that Araujo has a lot of pace. So the counter-attacks by Bilbao will be able to control a bit. So that's a good thing. I think our defense will be a little more energetic, because PK lacks space because of his age, of course. So that's a good thing. Then I also expect, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that I think Demir will start this game, because he can run in behind the defense, he can make runs in behind, he can dribble past them as well, just like Memphis also does. But Braithwaite and Griezmann do not offer that, because of course they are just strikers. So I think Demir will start this one, with of course the midfield does not change. Really feel bad for Pedri. I see on Twitter Barcelona's images of the training, and I see Pedri's face. I'm like, give the kid some rest, guys. He needs a lot of rest. You see how exhausted he is. But love Pedri, love his enthusiasm, love the spirit, love his physicality also apparently. So I expect a 4-3-3. I expect we playing on the front foot, we pressing them high. I expect a good game, a tough, of course, game, not a full fully occupied San Mamés because of COVID, but fans will be there. So it will be tough for us, but excited for the game.
Okay, let me just say one quick last thing. I really hope that Koeman won't play with Lenglet and or with Piqué. I mean, he can be stubborn and play with Piqué also when he's not 100% fit. I really hope that we won't buzzer. We'll move along naturally to the match predictions. I mean, quickly, just any one of you just say your starting lineup and what do you think that the final score will be. We'll start with you, Pulkit.
Okay, so my lineup, I'll just say what I changed from the lineup from last week.
Okay.
So of course Garcia and Araujo at the back instead of PK and Garcia. Then at the front we have Memphis, Griezmann and Yusuf Demi. Pedri, Busquets and De Jong of course in the midfield, and Alba as fullbacks and Neto as the goalkeeper. My prediction will be 3-2 to Barca. 3-2 Barcelona win.
Yay.
Yeah.
Saga.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. I think that what my ideal formation would be Neto at the goal, a two centre back combination of Garcia and Araujo, Alba at left back, Dest at right back. And here's what I want to do with midfield. I would like to start the match with our best midfield right now, which is Pedri, Busquets, and De Jong. Once we get a considerable amount of leading goals, I want Koeman to obviously rotate the midfield because we have so many young talents, and De Jong got back from recovery very recently, and Pedri obviously needs rest. And as for the forwards, we have a lot of forwards. I would like Braithwaite, Depay and Griezmann to start obviously, and as the match progresses we could see more changes like Demir coming in and maybe Griezmann getting subbed off or moving on to the midfield or something. There's a lot of opportunity for rotation. And as for the final scoreline, well, our team has a lot of attackers and so do Athletic Bilbao. I expect a plethora of goals. I expect a lot of goals from both sides, at least 2 from Athletic, and I think that we can easily score 4. So I think it's going to be a 4-2 from Barca, but it all comes down to how well the back four holds up against Athletic Bilbao.
Okay, let me just add that for me, I would like to see I don't think that there's any option that Braithwaite will not start the game after scoring a brace and assisting another goal versus Real Sociedad. So, in my opinion, he will start the game. So, I'm expecting the same lineup minus Joao Piqué. I think that Araujo will start alongside Eric Garcia. It will be a good chance to see how they perform together, how well they play. And afterwards, the rest of the team will look the same, will start the same as versus Sociedad, in my opinion. As for match predictions, I think that we're about to see, we will concede at least 1 goal from Athletic Bilbao, but I can expect us to score 3 goals. So for me, 3-1 is the score. And we'll move along to the next topic, which is the final words. Each and every one of us will take 1 minute and speak about the subject, the topic that he chooses. So we'll start with you, Pulkit.
I didn't choose anything, though. I'm going to talk about Gavi today. So, of course, we have not seen him in La Liga yet. He has yet to make his debut. But based on pre-season, and given the fact that he's just 16 years old, I think his parents drop him off on the training and the matches. And he has shown tremendous talent. I'm not going to say that he's going to be another Ansu Fati in terms of how he broke through the first team from Juvenil A when Valverde was still in charge. And he was just, giving the opposition a very hard time. But I can expect a very similar thing from Gavi also. I mean, fans were so emotional about it that they said Gavi is the next Pedri. So they're already placing Pedri on a very, very high pedestal. and saying that Gavi is the next Pedri, which is huge for the kid, which is huge, very huge for the kid. Having said that, I hope that he does not, take place of Puig or get Puig's minutes, because that will be very harsh on Puig, because Puig, Pedri, and Gavi, all three are different set of players who of all three offer very different things on the pitch and should not be compared to one another at all, even
Yeah.
though they play in similar positions. So that's my thing. Loving Gavi so far. Would love to see him play for us in the mainstream matches in La Liga and the Champions League. So that was my topic.
Okay, and you, Sagni?
Yes, I'm gonna talk about Martin Braithwaite, the person who impressed us the most last match. And I want to talk about his history, how he came at Barcelona, how fans perceive him. So, Braithwaite, as soon as he was brought into the club, he was deemed as not good enough for Barcelona by most of the fans. And I think the majority thought this because as Luis Suarez was shipped off to Atleti for almost no money, we had no number 9 in our squad except Martin Braithwaite. So Braithwaite obviously doesn't have a very good career preceding his career at Barcelona. So fans always looked at him and remarked about him in a form of banter and in a very sarcastic tone. But Braithwaite was never really a very bad player at Barcelona. The very first match he played, he was subbed on at the 72nd minute for Antoine Griezmann, and he assisted 2 goals. But even then, the fans never took him seriously because obviously all players in our squad are under Messi's shadow. And another reason being that they all expected him to be the next Luis Suarez, who is arguably the greatest number 9 of our generation. But yes, last day, and even as he went throughout his career, he gave us Champions League goals. He gave us some good assists, and especially as Twitter analytics and proper professional analytics will know, that Braithwaite's most lethal weapon is not his on-the-ball movement, but his off-the-ball movements. Especially if you check out his heat map and his pass map, you'll see that most his passes are on the edges of his heat map, which means that he covers a lot of ground off the ball. Like you could call him a dummy runner, but he's far more than that. So yes, Braithwaite has always been a lethal weapon for Barcelona, and especially with the last match, it's a very fitting reply, and especially coming from Braithwaite, who was always kind of mildly ridiculed by all the fans. It was a very mature mindset of him to not reply verbally or in text to these sly remarks made by Barcelona fans, and finally answer on the pitch, giving a phenomenal 9.5 SOFA score statistical rating. Even I don't believe in football app ratings, but still it's a very fitting rating. That's why I'm calling it out. A phenomenal performance to shut up all the fans who just expected him to fill in Luis Suarez's shoes, showing them that he is far more than Suarez offered.
Okay, very interesting points, guys. I would like to use my 1 minute to talk about a little bit about Leo Messi. I didn't have the chance to speak about the effect of him leaving the club. I will not be so emotional and not talk about all the other aspects, but I would like to take a look at history. And the last time that a player that was so vital in our squad left is the first year that I saw Barça as a fan and became a fan of Barça, and it's the year of Ronaldo as the striker of Barça. Let me just give you numbers. In this year, he scored 47 goals overall in Barça, which 34 of them were in La Liga. And just to make it clear, the second best goal scorer in this year was Luis Enrique with 17 goals. I mean, he scored twice goals that the second one scored. So it was pretty similar to Leo Messi. But when he left, and he left shockingly, no one expected him to leave. It was a very bad business, but by Nunez, the president on this time, this era. there we had the money to buy someone like Rivaldo to cover for him, and this year we don't have the money to buy someone to cover for him. So this is why I said in the first minute of the podcast that me personally, I don't expect us to get trophies, but when I look into the future, I can see us having a golden generation. And as Laporta said in the press conference, Barca will look to play with La Masia players and top players. And in a year, in 2 years, I can see him, I can see Laporta doing everything he can in order to buy some top players, like he did in 2003. 2003, we had a very big debt, and what he did is taking a refinance loan from the major bank of Catalonia, and then he was able to buy Ronaldinho. And now with him having some more time, I think that by next summer we might see a top player arriving. I don't want to say Haaland, but a top player will arrive in Barca. And we will have a combination of a golden generation of La Masia players and some top players like Haaland, but let's wait and see what will happen. Okay, so with this, we finished all our topics. I really enjoyed this tonight. I would like to say thank you to both of you, Pulkit and Sagnit. We'll see you in the next episode. Visca Bartha, and have a great evening, all of you.